Yeah, so we just wanted to find out a little bit more. You know, this is just to let folks know how this guitar really gets used. Now, is this something you think a stage, player might use to change his tone between songs, or you think it's more geared for what you do?
Well, I mean, my volume pedal's over there, so you've been hearing me click and clock when I switch pickups, but literally, what does it take? 7 seconds to change out a pickup? If you're on stage and you just got 3 pickups on your amp, you're just swapping them out really quick.
And you get exactly the sound you want.
Yeah. And, I've passed that guy, the loaner guitar I've passed it around to all kinds of people. They all say the same thing. Brilliant concept. The thing to me is that it's not only a brilliant concept, it also works for what I do. And I do this every day. I use these guitars every day. Mm-hmm. It's changed my workflow to the point where your guitars are here, and these are the guitars I use the most. And now, since yours is the 2 closest, I use your guitars the most.
Right. And you still throw in for a certain flavor because a customer wants a particular Gretsch sound or something like that could.
Well, yeah. I mean, how many people own a Steven Stern Gretsch Penguin? Not too many, because he didn't make that many. And, when an offset, the reason an offset sounds the way it does is because the weird whammy bar and stuff. And sure, I use all these guys, but if I want to go somewhere and have the maximum amount of tone options for the minimum amount of space usage, like, what was it? 3 or 4 months ago, I went down to Muscle Shoals for a couple of days to do a project, and it's just my car that holds all my gear. Mm-hmm. I had to just choose, and I chose yours, and it ended up being on about, I would say 50% of the tracks I cut were your guitar, mm-hmm. just because I could make cool combinations. I have obviously a problem with buying pickups, which I don't consider a problem, but my wife does. And I could get the maximum amount of tone coverage with the minimum amount of guitar carrying and worrying about, oh God, is it set up right? Because I hate to say it, a lot of guitars are really touchy about setup. And if you got 7 guitars, trying to keep them all set up right, as opposed to 1 or 2 in my greedy case.
Right.
It saves. And, your baritone, it's the same pickups as this.
Yeah.
I mean, so I've got all these pickups that work on 2 great guitars. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I know what you
It's crazy.
That's why we designed it that way, because that was the whole point of it. As far as, we've watched you just a little while ago pull out the pickups mm-hmm. in and out. Was that a hard process to get used to? No,
I got to be careful because I am not a careful person. I bang my shit up just because I'm not. That's the one thing I try to be careful about, but it's not because, boom, I'm done.
Sometimes we got to get people to get their hands on them. That's why we go to the NAMM show and places like that, so that you can try it out. Because until you see how easy it is and how intuitive it is, it's a lot of folks think it's not a serious tool because it's not like a Fender, it's not like a Gibson. So it's more of a gimmick. You can pop a few pickups in and out. I've seen that before, mm-hmm. but this is not what they've seen before, because
No, it's not. I gotta say, when I saw it first, I thought it was a gimmick too. But you know what? Fuck it. If it's a gimmick that works, who gives a? Having this. And being able to put that in a guitar or put it in another guitar, it's unbelievably valuable to people who need different sounds for different songs.
And you've been happy with how we built it. You said it feels solid.
Oh yeah, it feels great. The only thing I had a problem, because I'm really weird about I like a 0 fret.
Yeah.
Because most people don't. I know it was a bit weird for y'all to put it in, because that's probably the first one y'all put in.
Yeah.
The guitar, this one, it's back further than I would normally have it. I've gotten used to it. That to me was the only thing, and it's just because y'all had never done one. I mean, the guy who does all my repairs, his name's Joe Bavona. He absolutely hates 0 frets, but he doesn't sit here at 4 a.m. trying to get a guitar in tune, because to me, a 0 fret, it keeps the tension regulated on both sides. So when you're doing that, all of a sudden, you know, your G string's going sharp because it's binding in the nut. I get all the things where you put all this stuff in, and yeah, that's great. But I spend 30% less time tuning now because of 0 frets. Yeah. And that I felt like I sprung that on y'all. That's okay. Which was you know, but man, look, I mean, you did it.
This is why we want to put them in the hands of musicians so that we get that feedback on what works out here in the real world. And it's, in my opinion, doesn't matter. You're the one using it.
Right.
It's what you like and what works for you and what saves you time, makes you more money. If that's a less hassle, quick boom, that's not going to binding in the nut's always a problem.
Yeah.
You got to file it right. You got to, lubricate it. Like you said, 0 fret solves that.
Yeah. And I mean, being a session guy since 1980, that's a long time. And you learn as a session player, every time somebody stops to talk about something, you're moving your volume pedal back and you're tuning, because there's always something to tweak. Well, with 0 frets, I tweak 30% less. So I love them, but I know it's not for everybody. And y'all just jumped right on it like it was nothing.